Recently, Sanju Sanyal sir, a member of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, he made a statement that a very fact that large number of students are entering into civil service examination highlights poverty of aspirations. He was of the opinion that students should aspire to become wealth creators and not just administrators. Sir, in fact, he goes on to say that life in civil services is dull, boring, in certain cases confined to just passing of files. Sir, I just want your opinion as to what should students do. Should they try to become wealth creators, that is entrepreneurs, or administrators? What does India actually need, sir?
Yeah, I'm trying to construct an appropriate response to that. I agree with very little of what Sanyal said. I don't agree with much of what he said, which is that it's a waste of talent. People should go into entrepreneurism. Entrepreneurs are wealth creators. Others are just wasting their time. IAS officers just sign files. That is a very, very false description of the role of IAS officers, or indeed of the role of civil servants across board, not just the IAS but the IPS and other civil services. Okay? It's not only entrepreneurs who create wealth. It is people who support entrepreneurism, who are helping entrepreneurs create wealth, are also helping. So to believe that you have to be, directly on the front line to do anything is wrong. If the Prime Minister is able to deliver on some results, it is because of the entire infrastructure behind him that supports him. To believe that he alone does anything and he alone creates wealth is completely wrong. So I disagree with that part of what Sanyal said. The IAS is a noble career option. You can contribute to society, you can add value. But on the other hand, I don't believe that the IAS is the only way of adding value or only way of creating, IAS toppers every year. Why do you want to join the IAS? I want to create wealth, I want to change the world. That is true. But you can change the world in practically everything. You can change the world by becoming a professor. You can change the world by becoming a journalist. You can change the world by becoming a sportswoman. So to believe that the IAS is the only way that you can create wealth or you can change the world is wrong. On the other hand, to believe that the IAS is a nondescript career option, does not create wealth, is also wrong. Okay? Now, the part that I agree with, which is debatable since you're all IAS aspirants, but the part that is somewhat debatable is how many opportunities should civil service aspirants have? What should be the age limit? What should be the method of recruitment into the IAS exam? There's been a lot of improvement from the time I appeared more than 50 years ago to today, but it is not necessarily the case that the exam today is the best practice. As I was telling your faculty, there are type 1 and type 2 errors. You heard of type 1 and type 2 errors? The type 1 error in the sense that not everybody who is competent gets into the clears the exam. There's type 2 error in the sense that no incompetent person passes the exam. You must avoid both errors. There is no known system of examination that can minimize both these errors. So we try to be the best practice. Whether you must give 6 chances, whether you must have such a large age range is debatable.
So my next question is with respect to the entry of engineers into civil services. So when you are pursuing MSc Physics from IIT Kanpur, most of your batchmates were thinking of pursuing PhD or going abroad to USA. That's what you mentioned in the book. So the number of engineers entering into civil services during your times was considerably less. But now these days, the number of engineers entering into civil services has increased. In fact, most of the toppers happen to be engineers. So my question to you in this regard is, so what has changed that suddenly more engineers are trying to get into civil services, sir?
Well, one possible answer is that the civil services has become a more attractive career option. But let me give a more nuanced answer. It's probably true. But let me give a more nuanced answer. When I topped the civil service in 1972, I was still in IIT campus when the results came. Yeah. So I thought I'd be a big hero on campus, that this guy from IIT Kanpur had topped the civil service. Nobody cared. Nobody cared really, except a dozen people. Nobody cared about topping the IAS and all that, because IIT Kanpur at that time was so focused on these engineers and people who studied science and engineering, all the STEM disciplines. They said, we want to go abroad and study in the US or study in India for the studies. You want to go into academics, or you want to become engineers in the field. Nobody thought of the IAS as a career, because those days the IAS is to be attributed to people who studied liberal arts. In fact, some people told me, when I was in IIT Kanpur, I'm preparing for the civil service, you're stupid. You should be in Delhi University, or you should be in Allahabad University. If you want to join the IAS, IIT Kanpur is the wrong place. But since then, what was in early 70s, we was in some sense the path breakers, but subsequently IIT engineers from engineers across the country, from other engineering colleges, have come into the civil services, and it's now become a flood, which is a good thing, I believe, because in the IAS, what they call as major is less important than the education that you got in college. It's not so much that you studied physics or psychology or economics. What is important is that you've gone to a college. Your mind has expanded. You've been exposed to other peer group. You've been exposed to people, lecturers, professors, teachers who were dedicated their lifetime to teaching. So that's what matters. That's why the qualification for the IAS is just a degree, any degree. So I believe, one of the directors of IIT, I think the director of IIT Madras, who said, you can refer to that, it might come in your interview, for example, a similar question like this. He made a statement saying that IIT engineers going into civil services is a waste of IIT education. Now, suppose I ask you to write 250 words. Why you do not agree with that? Go home and write that. This evening, go home and write 250 words on why you do not agree with that IIT director's view. That's a good way of learning.